Hello, I'm John Bachman. Today, the man who could be the next Secretary of Defense is facing some questions in the Senate. He may have tipped his hand also about a potentially huge shift in Pentagon policy on Ukraine. During testimony today, nominee Ashton Carter promised to weigh heavily any decision to send American troops into battle.
And that decisions about when and where they are sent into harm's way are made with the greatest reflection and care.
Now, he also says he supports sending military aid to the Ukrainian army to fight pro-Russian rebels. If confirmed, he also promises to figure out why there have been delays in U.S. arms sales to Jordan. And it looks like Carter will have support in getting more military hardware to Jordan after one of its former pilots was murdered by ISIS. West Virginia Democratic Senator Joe Manchin now says Jordan's king should get all the military equipment he needs to fight militants. King Abdullah returned home today, cutting short his visit to the United States, where angry Jordanians have taken to the streets after that ISIS video was released showing a captured pilot burned alive. Hours later, Jordan put 2 convicted terrorists to death, including a woman convicted in connection with a suicide bombing in Amman 10 years ago. ISIS had demanded her release in exchange for that captured pilot. The wreckage of that plane that crashed in Taiwan this morning after cartwheeling over a highway has now been hauled out of a river. The plane went down just after takeoff. The pilot radioing in that an engine had flamed out. 58 people were on board. At least 23 are now confirmed dead. And this is what it looked like moments before hitting the water. Video captured on a car's dashboard camera. The plane narrowly misses several buildings. Several people are still missing after the crash. The NTSB is now on the scene of a deadly train crash just north of New York City. A Metro North train slammed into an SUV stuck on the tracks, setting off an explosion and fire at the height of last night's rush hour. The SUV and the first car on the train burst into flames.
The inside of that first car is just melted and charred with the third rail going straight through it. So the scene must have been horrific and unimaginable.
6 people died and more than a dozen are hurt. Investigators want to know how that SUV got stuck on the tracks in the first place. And the maker of that drone that crashed recently on the White House grounds says it won't happen again. DJI Technology now says it will send an update to the navigation systems of all of its drones this week that will block them from flying over Washington, D.C. Software in the drones already prevents them from flying around certain no-fly zones in hundreds of airports around the world. And Staples is making a big buy. The office supply giant is scooping up its biggest rival, agreeing to buy Office Depot for $6.3 billion. Federal regulators blocked a similar deal back in 1997. Another Newsmax Now update coming up for you in 30 minutes. Now back to Midpoint.